Hi there and welcome back. In this video we're going to look at how we can set the OSPF Router ID, and we're going to talk about what it is and the best way to set it. So let's bring up the Vancouver router and we'll grab console. Should be a pretty quick video, this one. And we'll go into the OSPF router process. And there's a command in here to set the router ID. So the command is just router ID question mark, and we can pretty much pick any IP address we want. So let's go with 1.1.1.1. As you can see, there's a command or a statement under here that says reload or use the clear IP OSPF process command for this to take effect. So just before I do that, I want to show you what the actual router ID is currently by default. So if you go to show IP OSPF, what we want to look at is the database question mark and database summary. So currently the OSPF router has an ID of 192.168.2.1, and if you remember, that's actually our loop back address that it chose by default. The reason it chooses that is it chooses the highest possible, unless you manually set it, it will choose the highest possible IP address on any loop back address on the router. So in this case it was 192.168.2.1. If you do not have any loopback addresses configured on the router, it will choose the highest possible IP address of any physical interface. That's a situation you want to avoid, because if the interface becomes unstable, it can cause sort of intermittent issues with OSPF adjacencies. So that's not something you ever want to actually happen. Not so bad with the loopback address, because the loopback address should never go down, and it's not a problem in this case to leave it at 192.168.2.1. But in my opinion, it's always a good thing to actually manually set it, and then you know that that sort of situation can never actually arise, and that OSPF from that point of view should be stable. So as I say, I've already changed it to 1.1.1.1, and in order to actually make this change actually happen, I need to do clear IP OSPF processes. I can choose the actual process, I believe, actually, if I just go back a step. Process ID number 1. So if you have multiple processes, you don't have to clear them all. And then process. Now when I do this, there'll be a period of time, like a period of downtime, while I clear the process. So you might see the adjacencies fall and then come back up. Routes might disappear from the routing tables, and it would essentially mean that a period of downtime for the people in the Vancouver office at this point wouldn't be able to access the rest of the network. So it's not something you would do lightly. You would probably do this out of hours if you were concerned about uptime. So let's hit this, and you may see the adjacencies drop. There you go. So it went from full to down, and then loading to full. So it dropped briefly. Let's just check the routes. So you can see though the routes are actually still missing. We haven't exchanged routes just yet. I believe that's due to like dead timers on the other side of the link, on the Calgary link. So it will take time. So during all this time, the rest of the network is inaccessible. This is why you wouldn't do it generally in the middle of the business day. Hopefully within a minute or two, should be around 30 seconds, 40 seconds actually. 40 seconds by default. So anytime now, there we go, and the routes are back, and everything's looking good, everything's rosy. So during that time, that 40 seconds or so, you know, the Vancouver office, they may be making a call to the Montreal or Toronto office. The calls have dropped, internet has dropped possibly if you route that way for your internet services. Internal services are all broken. So this is not something you would do lightly. Be very careful when you're clearing the OSPF process, but in this case, I mean, the best thing to do is set the router ID up from the very first configuration. I could have shown you that in the initial video, but I wanted to show you what actually happens when we start changing it around, and if you forget to set it and then you need to set it at a later date, you can see the impact it could possibly have. which is why I've shown you it in a separate video. So any questions, give me a shout as always, but I look forward to seeing you in the next video.